Welcome, everybody, to tonight's market update, Tuesday, May 10th, 2022. Another volatile day for Terra Luna and the UST algorithmic stablecoin. Um, and wanted to do a quick update and kind of re-review the charts. Yesterday had $22 downward price target for an ascending wedge on Luna, which clearly fulfilled, and then some. Now trading well below $15, now getting to $14, and so also on very strong volume. So to me, this suggests that we haven't quite seen the bottom for this move, just the sheer violence of it, and with the volume spike. Um, a bounce may be possible, but I think we sort of have no choice but to be prepared for additional downside risk. Um, and so just kind of zooming out and looking for trend lines with more touches, with longer history, of course, therefore making them more significant. Sort of see this triangle pattern with bearish upward pointing posture. And if we were to ask where might the price want to go in a continued downward move, and project that to the breakdown point, we end up getting something like $5, which just seems crazy, thinking how Terra Luna was seemingly yesterday the darling child of the crypto space, looked to as an answer to the problem of financial censorship and decentralized money, and now facing questions over its very survival. But Do Kwon is obviously a very intelligent and talented guy, and I think they will find a way around this. It's just the short-term pain, I think, is going to be considerable and ongoing. So looks like Do Kwon did post some tweets. Looks like the last one basically saying to continue holding on for dear life, and that he would announce a recovery plan shortly. Apparently, some VC and hedge fund capital and perhaps Celsius Network have been in talks to potentially bail out UST in exchange for some Luna on the cheap, essentially over a vesting period. So I'd be very interested to see how that shakes out. But before I even looked at the chart of UST, as I'll show shortly, I noticed this word plan, recovery plan. So sort of unlike the previous DPEGs for UST, I do think this is going to be sort of a process to recover. As the broader market recovers, and I think that may take some time. Whether it's a week, several weeks, a month. I really do hope it does reclaim the peg, just for the sake of the crypto space and sort of what these guys are trying to do. But we'll see. We'll see. The LFG reserves. So the Bitcoin. Just yesterday we checked a considerable balance, and today it looks like they did move those coins off of that wallet, either in their loans to these reported entities, or perhaps liquidating and selling flat out to maintain the peg. So we'll see. Try to add up the numbers and see sort of where and to whom some of these coins went. So The UST chart, it's something I think a lot of folks are gonna balk at in terms of, you know, using this to make any sort of decisions. And admittedly, the prior DPEGs have resolved, quite expeditiously. And so, of course, none of this is financial advice, but I do think that, this is really our technical analysis, is really our only tool for sort of cutting through the noise, the emotions, the hopium, the savior mentality of Do Kwon coming in and saving it right overnight. This is your hard-earned capital, and so um, to me, the only real objective tool that we have is technical analysis. And so on the chart, the daily chart, I think we only have 3 bars of this price action, but the most recent bar from today did close net up with a very wide volatile range, and a very large volume spike. So to me, this tells me that the bulls and the bears are really fighting it out, but the bulls haven't given up. Um, but we're really forced into the shorter term time frames, which you know at least can give us a window into the short term action. I'm not necessarily going to be trading these arbitrage uh, opportunities, but I know people are. But the first thing that really jumps out to me is this sort of descending trend line, which has been, it's kind of a consistent source of rejection. Uh, we sort of saw this bearish consolidation under the trend line before making a continuation to the downside. One interesting thing, this is being the 1-hour chart that I'm sort of noticing, is maybe a potential triangle or pennant or channel here developing, possibly for the price to maybe range between. It's a bit early to say for sure. The hopium would be that this is the double bottom and we're heading back up. But with conditions as crazy as they are in the overall markets, it would be great, but I'm not betting on a double bottom. And so on the 4-hour time frame, we really have to use all the possible tools at our disposal. So basically, our moving averages. We're seeing this 8-period exponential moving average here in light blue. This would really be the first obstacle to overcome. Looks like that's about 86 cents. Usually that EMA 8 serves as either a support or a resistance for strong up or down moves. And so I'd like to see the price sort of close above there. Then, of course, I'd like the price to reclaim this descending resistance, trendline resistance. And then, of course, reclaim the middle of the Bollinger Bands or the 20-period moving average. Once we get a close above there, ideally multiple closes, we can start talking about a move back up to reclaim the peg, and then sort of going through a similar formulation on the 1-hour. So it does look like we closed above this EMA 8 on the 1-hour time frame, and then sort of now consolidating around it. So getting above this 20-period moving average and then above this trendline resistance would be the next steps to start getting up to the top of the Bollinger Band, which also happens to be basically a reclaim of the peg. So let's see what Do Kwon says. I think this is one of those times where everyone is sort of hanging their hat on what one person is going to say. But to me, technical analysis is really the only thing we can objectively rely on, because human beings are human. We don't know what the conditions are that Do Kwon is going to be beholden to with all these deals, potential deals, and who are the actors behind sort of the short selling, behind Luna and UST. So let's see what happens. Let's keep an eye on both the fundamentals and the technicals. and use them together uh, to guide our decision making. I really do hope that over the longer term, the peg does reclaim, but based on what the at least the short-term price action is telling me, is that people are looking for um, basically the next available opportunity to sort of get out um, uh, and at lower and lower prices. People are willing to sort of sell at lower and lower prices, at least for the short term, to sort of reclaim their capital, which they hadn't previously thought of as at risk, but now sort of realizing that UST is actually a very, very risky asset, and hence the 20% APYs and things like that. So let's see. So just briefly, a couple of altcoins that I thought had some nice classical chart patterns. So here on AVAX we see sort of a head and shoulders. So kind of noticing that a lot of these coins are starting to look the same, are showing similar signs. A break below and a measured move target of about $18. And so Matic, similar sort of thing through here, maybe a double top or kind of another head and shoulders type, complex head and shoulders with a measured move target of about 50 cents. So, of course, this assumes that, that the market is going to continue moving down. We always have to keep in mind the opposite scenario, that this could flush below and reclaim and continue sideways or even higher. I think probabilistically less likely, but um, good to keep all the different possibilities in mind as we sort of plan for the worst as well. So I hope this was helpful and informative, and let's see what happens with UST, and we'll be sure to follow that very closely. Take care.